Well, this morning, we continue to follow breaking news from the Middle East, where Israel has conducted a military strike on Iran. Now, overnight, Israel's military announced it had completed a widespread operation against air defenses in western Iran, destroying dozens of radar installations and surface-to-air missile launchers. Now, this follows an earlier attack where Israel struck Iran's nuclear facilities, as well as other military installations, killing two top Iranian military leaders. This all comes as the U.S. has been trying to negotiate a new nuclear deal with Iran and plans to hold a meeting with representatives of Iran over the weekend. And this morning, the Trump administration is saying it had no involvement in the Israeli strikes. To provide context, I want to turn to Scripps News political correspondent Nate Reed, who joins us live from Washington. And Nate, what has the response to these attacks been this morning, and what role is Israel's prime minister playing in all of this?
Yeah, Keenan, again, everything we've heard from the Trump administration so far has pinned this attack directly on Israel. Yesterday, in the moments after this attack was announced, it began to make headlines. We had a statement from the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, making very clear that there was no U.S. involvement in these strikes. But just this morning, President Trump up on Truth Social saying that the next planned attacks will be even more brutal if Iran does not come to the table and make a deal before, quote, there is nothing left. So a lot of questions about where things could go from here. Israel already floating the possibility of continuing these attacks for the next several days. Already concerns about retaliation. But the Israeli prime minister announcing in a video yesterday when the attacks took place that Israel had no choice here. They wanted to do this before Iran developed a nuclear weapon, developing the capability to strike Israel. Take a listen.
In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in confronting Iran's nuclear weapons program. He has made clear time and again that Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program.
A lot of questions about what the retaliation is going to look like. Much of Israel waking up earlier today to lockdowns across the country with school canceled. Concerns about retaliation from Iran, especially given the sheer number of people who have been taken out as part of this attack. Israel reportedly even smuggling in some of its Mossad intelligence agents into the country to try and attack some of these sites. Again, a lot of the targets on the Iranian nuclear program. Just yesterday, the International Nuclear Proliferation Wing of the United Nations saying that Iran is not meeting the standards that they'd set and developing possibly a nuclear weapon. A lot of questions what that retaliation is going to look like later today.
And of course, we'll be following all of this, including whether or not there will be this meeting between the U.S. and Iran to hammer out a nuclear deal. You know, we'll see if Iran wants to come to the table in the wake of these strikes. Nate Reed, live for us this morning in Washington. Thank you.